Good evening.
Yes, evening.
How are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm fine too.
Okay.
Please help me understand this.
Uh-huh.
Is a private car an asset or a liability?
Private car.
Yeah.
Okay. Private car. You're asking whether private car is an asset or a liability.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, when you look under asset classes, generally when you look under asset classes, we can say private car is an asset. But now when we dive deep into, or when we look in the perspective of cash flows, we normally say that there is some instances we say that a private car becomes liability. Now I want to explain this. And I want you to pay much attention to this. Now, you see, we have we have two good scenarios here. You can have a private car. Okay, you've seen some cars written private. Yes, they are private, but there are people who use their private cars for maybe hiring. Some of them can use private car. Maybe they enter into cab industry, where, for example, of Uber and all that. Those are private car, but now they are being used to generate income. They are being used in business purposes. In that case, we say that a private car is an asset. A second scenario is whereby you use your private car, like that your private car is helping you. You understand? It is helping you to get your aiding you in smoothly in your operation. Let's say, for example, maybe your job, nature of your job is that you do a lot, you have a lot of travels, so it's aiding you on traveling. And when you compare maybe the inconveniences of maybe using a public vehicle to maybe when you are going to your engagement, you find that it is usually inconveniences you, and that the contract that you usually go for are worthy the fuel that you use in your private car. So in such circumstance, you find that having a private car is an asset, because indirectly or directly it's helping you in generating some income. But there is this scenario where someone has a private car for one reason. For the following reason. One, for people to see you, that you see so and so is having a car. Okay, yeah, the family of so and so is having a car, or so and so is having a car, to put you in that class of car owners. A car serves as a liability, and I'll explain why. Another is maybe you are just having a car for the purposes of let's say that you are having a car as a set of goal. Like, people have goals that I should have a car, I should have this, I should have a home, I should have this. So if you have car generally because of maybe some, how should I say it? Should I say you have a car to create some impressions, but it's not really helping you to generate some assets, or whatever it's the purpose you're using it for is not bringing you an income. We say in that instance, we say that the car is not really an asset to you, but it will serve as a liability. Why am I saying so? Because when you have a car, don't just look at just having that car, the cost of buying that car itself. In fact, that is just one-off cost. Buying a car, the amount that you pay for buying that car is a one-off cost. But there is additional cost that will come. So before even you buy a car, someone needs to understand that there are some additional cost, or there are some recurrent costs that you will be incurring. Let's say, for example, this car will need fueling. Okay, you'll be fueling this car, so that cost is something that will be fueling. It's not once, so it's something that will be repeated every now and then. Then we the car will need maintenance, okay, due to wear and tear. You understand? The car will need maintenance due to wear and tear. You will have to change maybe the spare. You will have to change maybe the parts which have worn out. Yes, so that one also you have to include that cost. Okay, another one you have to consider that for example, if you are maybe residing in these major cities or towns, you can't just park car just freely. There is parking fees every time you walk out with your car. You will, for you to park it, you will always pay for parking fee, and this is something that is a recurrent expense. So also we can talk about car wash charges. You will always have to wash your car. So if we add all these additional costs, you find that the car will be taking money from you. So you have to do a comparison between all these charges that you've paid for, the initial cost of buying a car, the maintenance costs, fueling costs, and then even parking fees and all that. You get the value of all these charges that you are going to pay. Then you compare with the benefit that this car is going to give you. If you get that the difference between the charges and the benefit that you get is negative, in that instance we say that the car is a liability to you. Yes.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Though you've already answered my next question.
I don't think.
My next question
was
is, cars can be at times a liability.
Yes.
And when can we say that a car is now a liability?
Okay, I don't think. Let me just use that chance to maybe continue expounding on something. Okay, generally okay, like I said, that those some people, once they start realizing some cash inflows, they tend to, first of all, what they think of is car. And even the car itself, they buy, let's say for example in this generation, somebody is buying a car which is number plate KA something or KB something. So you find that in as much as you will buy that car at maybe relatively, you say that you buy that car at a low price, but following the law of depreciation, usually find that when a car mileage is high, or engine has been used for long, or it has depreciated, you will find that you will be paying a lot in terms of maintenance costs. Okay, so when a car is new, you find that maintenance cost is usually a bit lower. Then as it depreciates, then the car maintenance costs become high. Do you understand? Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that in that instance you find that a car becomes a liability, because now it takes a lot of money from you than the benefit that it gives you. Yes. So unless you buy a car you have to weigh out the benefits and the cost. Okay? Yes.
Well, between a home and a car, which one should come first?
Between a home and a car, which one should come first? Now, this one will depend on so many aspects. Okay, yeah, it will depend on so many. Just like I said, that there are people that their nature of job really require you to have a car. and maybe the car is not provided by, or maybe you are self-employed, or maybe maybe your employer has not provided you with the car, and you're getting inconvenienced. But let me just say, mostly for the employer scenario, they usually provide a car. But let me just talk for instance of someone who is you have your own business, or you are self-employed, and the nature of your job really require you to have a car, because depending on public car will inconvenience you maybe when you want to attend to some of your errands, or some of your projects. So it's in that instance, if we say that you have to start with the home, it might be unrealistic. So this decision whether you to start with the car or start with the home will depend with your age, will depend on your age, and also will depend on the nature of your job. But if you want just the nature of your job doesn't really require you must have that car, you can use other avenues conveniently, then I prefer you start with the home. But even the question of you having home first, to me, I think that's we should first think of investing in assets that will generate income to you. So, for example, if you buy a home, and maybe you buy a residential home, and when you buy a residential home, of course, you know that it will only save you from paying rent if maybe you are residing in that home. It's not generating any other income. So it's just maybe the rent that you are going to pay is what it has saved you on. I don't think if it is ideal. I think the first thing you should do, even if it's a matter of buying home, then buy a property that you are going to rent out, so that you first focus on assets that are going to generate for you income, than tying a lot of money. Let's say, for example, buying a home can go to a tune of, maybe you can talk about a 10 million plus. So 10 million plus, you take 10 million plus, you put in a home where you reside, just for you to maybe do what? For you to maybe save on rent. I think if we look at it, in that perspective, I think you will be living. The opportunity cost will be higher than the value of your choice, because assume that you take that 10 million plus and invest somewhere. I think it can give you a return higher enough to even continue paying rent and still have surplus. So if it's about buying a home, I think you should start with developing a property, which is a residential property, or this property, commercial property, where you lend for businesses that are all offices, where trade can take place, or offices can be open in. So I think the important thing is start with assets that are going to generate income for you before you even think of doing what? Buying your own home, because even the home itself will always require some repair or renovation. So first start with assets that will generate you income. Then once you have various streams of income, is when now you can consider maybe now having your own home, building your own home. Maybe start by buying one in the city where you are. Then I think now building your home maybe from your rural is become last. Yes, because considering that one at home will be a bit idle unless you build it there, then also you let it, if maybe there could be people who can move into it before you actually resume using it, so that you ensure you maximize on the assets. Yes.
Okay, fine. What do you have to tell someone who's aspiring to acquire a car?
Okay, someone who is if you really have to buy a car, I think the most important thing you should do, cheap is expensive. Don't go for cheap, because like I said, if you go for cheap, maybe you say someone is selling you a car below a million shillings, I think. And you see now, someone is selling this car 500,000 or maybe 800,000. I think if you really want, just you've assessed yourself and you know that you really need to buy a car, plan for it well and ensure that you've answered or you've prepared for all these costs that it takes for you to own a car that we've talked of. Is when you move to buying a car, and prepare yourself very well by, first of all, ensure that you have enough money to buy a serious car or a cost-effective car, a car that won't require you to pay heavily in terms of maintenance costs. Yeah, so this issue of buying a car that's already, the mileage is so high, I think is not ideal. So you just have a plan. Once you've built your asset, like I said, you start with income generating. Of course, you will be having money, so use substantial amount to buy a car that will save you from a huge amount of money in terms of maintenance cost. So the cheaper you buy the car, the higher the maintenance cost and other incidental cost. So if you want to buy a car, just prepare well and be sure that you know the main reason why you're buying a car. Don't buy a car because you want to impress people. Buy a car because you know it's going to serve you and it's going to help you even. It's going to help you achieve more, achieve more, and then take more from you. Yeah. So don't buy a car to impress people. Yes, buy a car because you really need it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for the insight.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you too.
Okay.